is 2 letters. All right, 2 letters. All right, think of 2 letters in this rescue center. All right, can you kind of guess what the 2 letters are? All right, so that's the hint. All right, we are now, bingo there, Cat B got it. Those are the 2 letters. So we are going to read Negative Cat. Yep, there we go. We are going to be reading books on CH cats next week. Now, I don't have I think I might have 3 books on kitties. So, we might expand that to some other cat themes. But CH will be the theme for next week. All right, so we're going to read Negative Cat by Sophie Blackall. For our own negative cat, Claudia and Olive and Eggy, who loved her. On day 427 of asking for a cat. A cat? A cat? Cat? Meow? Milk? Cat? My parents finally gave in. A cat, please? Okay. Thank you, Tina. You have to feed it and clean out the litter. It better not have fleas. Also, keep your room tidy. And write to your grandma and read for 20 minutes each day. Look, I'm not so great at reading. Words only make sense when I read them out slowly and the kids at school stare and laugh at me. But I agree to the rules before my parents change their minds. Yes, capable and happy. So, did I read what I learned from my cat? I think I did. I'm getting a cat. I'm getting a cat. I'm getting a cat. There are a million cats in the rescue shelter, and I want to take them all home. But Mom says, only one. Then I find him. The name on the cage is Pookie. But that is no name for this cat. This cat is Maximilian August Xavier. And we will call him Max. When we get home, I am so excited to show Max his bed and his scratching post and his litter tray and his scent of the sea frisky bites. Scent of the sea. He is not excited. The next day, I surprised Max with a toy mouse. He's not surprised. I tickle him with a feather. He's not ticklish. I tell him all of my best jokes. He doesn't even smile. At school, my friends go on about how excellent their cats are. Camilla, can we wear her cat like a scarf? Camilla can wear her cat like a scarf. Jack's cat can fetch a stick. Amelia's cat has its own Instagram. My cat stares at the wall. He's kind of a negative, your cat. I think I know where this book is going. Hi, Moshi. On the weekend, Dad lets Max have the best parts of the paper. Uncle Dave knits him a sweater. Mom lets him borrow her shoes. In return, Max leaves hairballs on the rug. His tail is in the butter, and poop in the vestibule. He eats the flowers and deletes my email to Grandma. Yes, these illustrations are very cool. Everyone is mad at Max. Get it, Mad Max? Oh! He doesn't even purr. I'm calling the shelter. We should have gotten a dog. And then they're mad at me. Your room is a mess. He hasn't been reading. Have you even written to Grandma? I still love you, Max. When the lady from the shelter comes, Max and I hide in my room. The grown-ups talk on and on. Blah, 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 commitment, responsibility, blah, blah, blah. Negative, blah, blah, blah. I have an idea. It's our only hope. I tidy my room in record time. I reach for a book. I take a deep breath. I begin to read slowly, out loud. The only way I know how. Max stares, but he doesn't laugh. I turn the page. I don't know if you noticed this, but in his book, in his hand is a book called Millions of Cats. We have read that book before here. I just thought you'd want to see that. What's Tears for Fears? It's a band out of England. Max inches closer. And closer. And closer. He tucks his head under my arm. I stay perfectly still and read. And read. And read. Right to the very end of the book. Look at the smile that Max has on his face. The lady from the shelter says Max and I should come and read to all the cats to cheer them up. So we do. Now my whole class comes every Tuesday, and we all read out loud, fast or slow, however we like. The cats are happy. The lady at the shelter is happy. And the parents are happy. Sort of. Can we please have a cat? 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 And that's the end of the book. With a little postmark here. When my kids were little, we adopted a cat from an animal shelter. The sign on her cage said her name was Cinnamon, but we called her Claudia, after a character from the mixed up files of Ms. Basil E. Frankweiler, and because she had claws. Over the years, she grew into what my son described as a negative cat. She ate the flowers, hogged the newspaper, and stared at the wall. She would ask to be stroked, then bite your hand. She would demand to be fed, throw up on the carpet, and then complain that she was hungry. But we loved her. A few years ago, I wrote a negative cat story, but I didn't know how to end it. I was about to put it away in the doomed file of unfinished story when I read about something extraordinary happening at the Animal Rescue League of Berks County, Pennsylvania. Ooh, Berks County, Pennsylvania.
Oh, that's where I lived with my sister.
Yep, that's
a nice place. I've been there.
Yep, Reading is in Berks County.
Yeah.
Children who wanted to practice their reading were encouraged to read to cats. Not only were the cats non-judgmental listeners, they became calmer and more sociable in the presence of readers. Children would read their books aloud, and before long a cat would sidle up, lean against them, and purr. Sometimes a deep bond was formed, and a cat found its new home. I would like to thank the Animal Rescue League of Berks County for their work supporting animal welfare and literacy, and the Heart of the Catskills Humane Society for allowing me to hang out with, draw, and read to their cats. The Animal Rescue League Book Buddies program has inspired similar programs around the country. You can contact your local shelter to see if they welcome readers or book donations. Our own Claudia was a negative cat for most of her life, but she became surprisingly sweet in her final days. If only we had read to her sooner. So that is Negative Cat. So, let me take a sip of my, I still call it soda. I'm not going to call it pop.
Oh my goodness, she's eating.
Oh, good. So now we are going to read the classic Stella Luna. Yes, cats are complicated.
One word for it.
Everybody and their mother has read Stella Luna.
You know that I don't know the book.
Oh, no?
I don't know it.
I just know it because this was Bonnie's book. Hello, Magic. In a warm and sultry forest far, far away, there once lived a mother fruit bat and her new baby. Oh, how Mother Bat loved her soft, tiny baby. I will name you Stella Luna, she crooned. Each night, Mother Bat would carry Stella Luna clenched to her breast as she flew out in search for food. One night, as Mother Bat followed the heavy scent of ripe fruit, an owl spied her. On silent wings, the powerful bird swooped down upon the bats. Dodging and shrieking, Mother Bat tried to escape, but the owl struck again and again, knocking Stella Luna into the air. Her baby wings were as limp as useless as wet paper. Down, down she went, faster and faster into the forest below. I think I forgot to show you the other picture. Really would have been nice if I showed the pictures. There we go. Yes, this is a great book, and this is all from the same author, the rest of the books tonight. The dark, leafy tangle of branches caught Stella Luna as she fell. One twig was small enough for Stella Luna's tiny feet. Wrapping her wings about her, she clutched the thin branch, trembling with cold and fear. "Mother!" Stella Luna squeaked. "Where are you?" By daybreak, the baby bat could hold on no longer. Down, down again she dropped. Flump! Stella Luna landed headfirst in a soft, downy nest, startling the three baby birds who lived there. Stella Luna quickly clambered from the nest and hung out of sight below it. Listen to the babble of the three birds. "What was that?" cried Flap. "I don't know, but it's hanging by my feet," chirped Flitter. "Shh! Here comes Mama," hissed Pip. Really, really good little drawing here of Stella Luna landing in the bird nest.
Here, baby.
Many, many times that day, Mama Bird flew away, always returning with food for her babies. Stella Luna was terribly hungry, but not for the crawly things Mama Bird brought. Finally, though, the little bat could bear it no longer. She climbed into the nest, closed her eyes, and opened her mouth. Plop! In dropped a big green grasshopper. Slimy yet satisfying. Stella Luna learned to be like the birds. She stayed awake all day and slept at night. She ate bugs, even though they tasted awful. Her bat ways were quickly disappearing, except for one thing. Stella Luna still liked to sleep hanging by her feet. Once when Mama was away, the curious baby birds decided to try it too. When Mama Bird came home, she saw 8 tiny feet gripping the edge of their nest. "Eek!" she cried. "Get back up here this instant. You're all going to fall and break your necks." The birds clambered back into the nest, but Mama Bird stopped Stella Luna. "You are teaching my children to do bad things. I will not let you back into this nest unless you promise to obey all the rules of this house." Stella Luna promised. She ate bugs without making faces. She slept in the nest at night, and she didn't hang by her feet. Stella Luna behaved as a good bird should. All the babies grew up quickly. Soon the nest became crowded. Mama Bird told them it was time to learn to fly. One by one, Pip, Flitter, Flap, and Stella Luna jumped from the nest. Their wings worked. "I'm just like them," thought Stella Luna. "I can fly too." Yes, this is a classic book.
Two more, alright? Come on. You have to have it. You have to have some liquid.
Pip, Flitter, and Flap landed gracefully on the branch. Stella Luna tried to do the same. How embarrassing. "I will fly all day,"
One more.
Stella Luna told herself.
Alright?
"Then no one will see how clumsy I am."
Okay, we're done. You're good.
The next day, Pip, Flitter, Flap, and Stella Luna went flying far from home. They flew for hours, exercising their new wings. "The sun is setting," warned Flitter. "We had better go home or we will get lost in the dark," said Flap. But Stella Luna had flown far ahead and was nowhere to be seen. The 3 anxious birds went home without her.
Okay. Okay then, buddy. If you say so.
All alone, Stella Luna flew and flew until her wings ached and she dropped into a tree. "I promised not to hang by my feet," Stella Luna sighed. So she hung by her thumbs and soon fell asleep. She did not hear the soft sound of wings coming near. a loud voice said. Why are you hanging upside down? Stella Luna's eyes opened wide. She saw a most peculiar face. I'm not upside down. You are, Stella Luna said. Ah, but you're a bat. Bats hang by their feet. You are hanging by your thumbs. So that makes you upside down, the creature said. I'm a bat. I am hanging by my feet. That makes me right side up. Stella Luna was confused. Mama Bird told me I was upside down. She said I was wrong. Wrong for a bird, baby, but not for a bat. More bats gathered around to see the strange young bat who behaved like a bird. Stella Luna told them her story. You hate bugs? Stuttered one. You slept at night? Gasped another. How very strange, they all muttered. Wait, let me look at this child. A bat pushed through the crowd. An owl attacked you? She asked. Sniffing Stella Luna's fur, she whispered, You are Stella Luna. You are my baby. You escaped the owl? Cried Stella Luna. You survived? Yes, said Mother Bat as she wrapped her wings around Stella Luna. Come with me and I'll show you where to find the most delicious fruit. You never have to eat another bug as long as you live. But it's nighttime, Stella Luna squeaked. We can't fly in the dark or we'll crash into trees. We're bats, said Mother Bat. We can see in darkness. Come with us. Stella Luna was afraid, but she let go of the tree and dropped into the deep blue sky. Stella Luna could see. She felt as though the rays of light shone from her eyes. She was able to see everything in her path. Soon, the bats found a mango tree, and Stella Luna ate as much of the fruit as she could. I'll never eat another bug as long as I live, cheered Stella Luna as she stuffed herself full. I must tell Pip, Flitter, and Flap. The next day, Stella Luna went to visit the birds. Come with me and meet my bat family, said Stella Luna. Okay, let's go, agreed Pip. They hang by their feet, and they fly at night, and they eat the best food of the world, Stella Luna explained to the birds on the way. As the birds flew among the bats, Flap said, I feel upside down here. So the birds hung by their feet. Wait until dark, Stella Luna said excitedly. We will fly at night. When night came, Stella Luna flew away. Pip, Flitter, and Flap leaped from the tree to follow her. I can't see a thing, yelled Pip. Neither can I, howled Flitter. Aye, shrieked Flap. They're going to crash, gasped Stella Luna. I must rescue them. Stella Luna swooped about, grabbing her friends in the air. She lifted them to a tree, and the birds grasped the branch. Stella Luna hung from the limb above them. We're safe, said Stellaluna. Then she sighed. I wish you could see in the dark, too. We wish you could land on your feet, Flitter replied. Pip and Flap nodded. They perched in silence for a long time. How can we be so different and feel so much alike, mused Flitter. And how can we feel so different? And how can we feel so different and be much alike, wondered Pip. I think this is quite a mystery, Flap chirped. I agree, Stellaluna, said Stellaluna, but we're friends. And that's a fact. And that's the end of Stellaluna. So now we're going to go into Verdi. A very similar book, but this is about a little snake. And this is about basically getting old. On a small tropical island, the sun rose high above the steamy jungle. A mother python was sending her hatchlings out into the forest the way all mother pythons do. Grow up big and green as the tree's leaves. She called to her little yellow babies as they happily scattered among the trees. But Verdi dawdled. He was proudly eyeing his bright yellow skin. He especially liked the bold stripes that had zigzagged down his back. Why the hurry to grow up big and green, he wondered. Maybe some of the older snakes in the jungle could tell him. Verdi ventured into the tree tops to look for them. Give me 1 second, my pump is alarming. I gotta put a little snooze for an hour. Calibrate now. Calibrate. Alright. Umbles, Aggie, and Ribbon were lazing on some branches nearby. Verdi peered at their droopy green bodies. It's not polite to stare, chided Aggie. Umbles burped and groaned. It's taken nearly 4 weeks for that last lizard to digest. I surely do like the lizards, but the lizards don't like me. Why don't lizards like you? Asked Verdi. Don't interrupt, Umbles grumbled. Dear me, whined Aggie. If I don't shed soon, this itchy skin will drive me bananas. Verdi tapped the tune with his tail as he waited to speak. Stop that, Verdi. It makes me nervous, Ribbon complained. Besides, you'll never grow up to be properly green, always interrupting and constantly fidgeting. Verdi couldn't imagine being in such a hurry to be like them. And he really wanted to keep his sporty stripes. Hoping to find snakes that weren't so boring, Verdi slipped away. Look at those. Get off my lawn. Dozer was snoring in a tree, not far from the others. Hello, said Verdi. Do you want to climb trees with me? I'm tired, Dozer growled. Go do a few laps around the jungle, okay? Verdi's heart sank. Greens were not only lazy and boring, they were rude. At the top of a very tall tree, Verdi gripped one branch with his tail and another with his little snake jaws. I will never be lazy, boring, or green, he thought. I will jump and climb and keep moving so fast that I will stay yellow and striped forever. And then Verdi let go. And this is what happened when Verdi let go. From a distance, the greens watched. Oh my, they chorused. Ribbon shook his head. At this rate, he'll be lucky to make it to his first molt. Aggie nodded. He's likely to put an eye out on a branch. Umbles moaned. He may not live to turn green. But one day, Verdi's skin began to peel, revealing a pale green stripe stretching along his whole body. Yuck! He gasped. How can that be? I'm the speediest snake in the jungle, and I'm still turning green. He raced down the river, grabbing up a mouthful of rough leaves. Verdi flung himself in the water. If I can't run this green off, I'll scrub it off, he thought. His frantic splashing caught the eye of a large bottom feeder cruising the murky depths. Yum, the old fish hummed. Lunch. Before the fish could haul Verdi under, the frightened snake bit him on the nose. Ah, pooh! With a blast of his rubbery lips, the great fish sneezed, sending Verdi into the air. Slapping onto the soggy shore, Verdi skidded out of reach. Whew! That was close, he sputtered. Every inch of his body was covered with wet, gloppy mud. Kinda lumpy. Kinda brown. Well, it sure beats being green. He left the mud on. But the soft brown muck dried into a hard gray shell, and Verdi could barely move. If he even budged, the stuff cracked off in jagged chunks. As each piece fell away, Verdi could see that his body was even greener than before. This is terrible, cried Verdi. He pictured himself hanging around in droopy loops, itching and complaining and worrying all day like the old greens. He looked up into the sky where the sun blazed a beautiful yellow, just the color he used to be. Then he pulled a vine to the top of a tree. Launching himself from the treetop, Verdi startled a flock of colorful birds. He became dizzy with delight. Sure, the bright sun and his lofty speed would turn him golden again. In his joy, Verdi forgot that he would fall back to earth. Whippity whappity fwig whap wham. Plummeting through the trees, Verdi landed in a crooked sprawl, across a log in a forest on the forest floor. He couldn't move. "Help! Help!" he croaked. As usual, the Greens had been watching Verdi's antics. They moved quickly to where he lay. "Didn't we say it would come to this?" Umble said, shaking his head. Aggie sighed. "Lucky thing you still got two good eyes." They gently lifted Verdi up to a safer place where they could watch over him while he healed. Neatly splintered to a branch, Verdi had no choice but to listen to the Greens as they gabbed. "Remember how I used to streak across this forest floor?" Ribbon asked. "Quick as lightning," answered Aggie. "And I climbed giant trees like they were nothing. They grew taller then, you know." "The thing is I dared to run down and swallow," Umbles bragged. "Wild boar were no match for me." Verdi was astonished. "You used to run and climb and hunt giant pigs? What happened?" "Ribbon crashed, just like you," Aggie replied. "I took a terrible fall and almost put an eye out. Then old Umbles here nearly choked to death. Now we all prefer the quiet life, a warm perch, a little sunshine, and an occasional good meal." The Greens rambled on about their days of glory, and Verdi settled in on his branch. Finally, one afternoon, Umble said, "Looks like you're ready to go again." He carefully untied Verdi from the branch. "You're welcome to come with us," said Aggie. Ribbon agreed. The three Greens slipped quickly back into the forest. Verdi was not ready to join them. He wasn't sure where he wanted to go, so he just stretched and stayed put until the sun went down. He listened to the forest come alive. And here's a picture of the forest coming alive. All the sounds of the forest night. Time passed. The sun and moon took turns in the sky. Verdi marveled as the full moon grew thinner every night. Then he watched patiently as it grew round again. He wondered why he hadn't noticed that before. "Hello, Brendan. How are you?" Verdi became so green that he blended perfectly with the leaves. He was still so still, other creatures walked right by him without even seeing him. One fine morning, as Verdi basked in the sunshine, two small snakes approached. They tapped and fidgeted as they stared. "Get a load of that old green guy," one of them whispered. "Do you think he ever moves?" The other snickered. "I seriously doubt it." "They're just like what I used to be," thought Verdi. "And I'm now what I was afraid to be." He looked at his big green body and slowly smiled. "How would you like to climb trees with me?" he said. With you, the yellows were astonished. "I'll even show you my fancy figure eight," Verdi replied, though he was a little worried about putting his eye out. With patience, The other three snakes performed a perfect triple figure eight. Leaping and looping with his little striped friends, Verdi laughed. I may be big and very green, but I am still me. So that's the end of Verdi. And we are now, I think I'm going to skip Pindaloo until last. We are going to read Crickwing. Let me take a sip of mine. Yes, and these are basically all written by the same author. Far below the giant forest canopy lies a shadowy world that many insects call home. Among the damp clutter of falling leaves and branches, leaf-cutting ants toil all day while large cockroaches await their evening search for food. Oh, you're welcome, Niska. One cockroach had looked like all the others until a close call with a hungry toad. In his wild escape from the toad's sticky tongue, he had twisted one of his fine long wings. Since then, everyone called him Crickwing. Crickwing despised his nickname, and he avoided hearing it by staying far away from the other creatures. He would sneak out to find his food when the night was darkest, knowing that the forest was crawling with predators even worse than ravenous toads. The forest seemed much less fearsome whenever Crickwing found a nice pile of tasty leaves, roots, and petals. He took comfort in their bright colors and interesting shapes. He often built sculptures from them before he ate them. When he was busy playing with his food, he could almost forget the pain in his crooked wing. One night, Crickwing created his most wonderful sculpture ever. He was so absorbed in his work that he did not hear the soft footsteps behind him. And I have to take a little break from this book because I got to show you something. It's awful cute. So, let's just give me this little. Hopefully, I can pick up the basket before. Oh, there's a little kitty and a pineapple here. Hi. I was hoping that you weren't awake. Anybody want a basket of cat? Anybody want a basket? What you doing, huh? What you doing? It's a tough life. You're welcome, Mike. It's a tough life. So, as you can see, oh, she's being cute. I'm going to put you back down, okay? I thought interrupting the book to show you Popcorn being cute. She's completely upside down right now, just watching me and stretching. So, okay. Pow! Swoosh! A sharp-eyed monkey clobbered Crickwing and swiped his sculpture. Crickwing tried to recover. I only let him get away with that because he's so big, he grumbled, cowering under a rotten log. I see you. I see you. Yeah, I see you looking at me. I see you. She's actually incredibly cute. My God. Crickwing hid until the next night when hunger drove him out to search for a meal. Yes. But as soon as he had added the final flower petal to his dinner, an enormous scaly lizard nearly gulped him down. Crickwing dodged, and the lizard took off with his edible artwork. "Another masterpiece. Ruined!" Crickwork panted. "I'm starving and my wing aches. I don't know if I can take this much longer." The next night, things got even worse. An ocelot pounced and nearly crushed Crickwing. When he darted away, the ocelot scooped him up in her massive paw and threw him high into the air. "Oh no!" Crickwing wailed. "Not again!" When he landed, Crickwing scrambled about in a panic and leaped into a crevice under a stone, where he collapsed in angry tears. "I am so tired of having to run from giant predators," he seethed. "I hate being so small, and I hate never being able to finish a meal. I'm a mere exoskeleton." Through the long night, Crickwing's wing throbbed as he waited in his hideout. It's bath time for popcorn. Many hours later, sunlight streamed into his cave, and the leaf-cutting ants began another busy day. Thousands of the tiny workers carried large slices of leaves back to their colony. Crickwing, groggy and still angry, crept out for a better look. "Ha! These guys are even punier than I am," he muttered. None of the ants seemed to notice him. Crickwing inched closer. "There's something about these eensy critters that just bugs me. Why isn't anyone bothering these little twerps?" He placed a spiny leg across the leafcutter path. "Well, let's see what happens now," he chortled. "Have a nice trip. See you next fall. Hello, Mercedes. Hello from Connecticut. Well, hello here from Ohio." Several ants stumbled, but then went back to work as if Crickwing wasn't even there. "This will get their attention," he growled, picking up a leaf from the path. The ant carrying the leaf hung on tight, which gave Crickwing a dastardly idea. He hung several ants from a vine, one by one, and watched with glee as their tiny legs flailed. Crickwing laughed so hard that he nearly forgot his aching wing. That night, Crickwing wolfed down a sweet flower bud, not even noticing its dazzling purple color. He had work to do. Right in the middle of the leafcutter trail, he dug a deep hole into the ground. Then he crouched behind a rock, waiting to see what the ants would do. In the very early dawn, the ants rose, as usual, and went to work. When they returned, their cargo clamped in their jaws, they could barely see their way. They plummeted into the trap, piling into a great green heap. "These muddling molecules are so easy to fool," snorted Crickwing. Back at the leafcutter colony, the queen of the ants called a meeting. "This week's production is down," she barked. "What on earth is going on?" Oh, God, hold on for 1 second. I spilled That should help. What on earth is going on? It's a cockroach, Your Highness, stammered Terra. He's picking on us, added Gravel. No cockroach meddles with our colony. Seize him, ordered the Queen. The next morning, the ants found Crickwing fussing with his latest ant trap. He had no chance to escape as thousands of leafcutters swarmed over him, dragged him back to the anthill, and marched him down its dark, winding corridors. When the tunnels narrowed, the ants crammed Crickwing through one final tight spot. Pop! His wing snapped back into place, and he realized that the throbbing ache was gone. Before he could give it another thought, the ants pulled their prisoner into a chamber and buried him up to his neck. For hours, the whole colony filed by, whispering to one another, "How do you think he became so awful? His mother must be so heartbroken." Yes, the pictures are very, very nice. That big oaf showed up just in time for the annual peace offering to the army ants, crowed the Queen. There's no way they'll attack us if we hand this hefty no-gooder over to him. Truss him up like the fat turkey he is and ship him out. The leafcutters bound Crickwing, hauled him back through the dim tunnels, and carried him up into the forest. The ants hiked in silence for a long time. "I can't do this," Eartha blurted at last. "Neither can I," Terra shuddered. "Remember the giant beetle we bought to the army ants last year?" "Yeah, they took him apart before we could even turn around and leave," quavered Gravel. Crickwing gulped. "Nobody deserves that, not even this big bully," said Eartha. "I say let him go. He never really hurt any of us." "What will we tell the Queen?" Terra gasped. "And what about the army ants?" Gravel howled. "They'll level our colony." "I can't just watch them shred this guy," insisted Eartha. "We'll figure something out on the way back. Let's go!" The ants released Crickwing, and then they fled. Crickwing was stunned. The Queen is going to have their heads, and the whole leafcutter colony is now in serious danger, all because of me. Now that his wing no longer hurt, he could now think clearly. I have to do something. But what? And then Crickwing had a brilliant idea. Wait, he yelled, racing after the leafcutters. "I can help. Wait!" He described his plan, and the ants listened carefully. "We'll have to move quickly, but if every ant pitches in, I think it'll work," Crickwing said. "Can we trust this yahoo?" yelped Gravel. "Do we have much choice?" snapped Terra. "The plan is worth a try, and we'll do our best to win the patience of the Queen," Eartha promised. "But we don't have much time." "Jump on my back, all of you," said Crickwing. "I am one fast runner." There we go. In the far corner of the forest, in the army ant camp, the lieutenant paced angrily. "Those leaf-eating fools are late," she snarled. "If we don't have our peace offering by tomorrow at dawn, we'll march in and take what's rightfully ours." As the hour passed, the army ants grew more and more agitated. At first light, the army swarmed from its nest, ready for conquest. "No one," shouted the lieutenant, "absolutely no one keeps the army ants waiting." They poured like an angry river down to the trail to the leafcutter anthill. As the ferocious ants turned the final bend, they stopped dead in their tracks. For a long, silent moment, they stared at the hugest, strangest, greenest anteater they had ever seen. It loomed high over them, its terrible tongue dangling from its mouth. The lieutenant's squeaky voice broke the quiet. "Halt! About face! Run away!" The army ants tripped over one another as they scrambled back towards the camp, none of them ever daring to look back. Crickwing and the leaf-cutting ants peered from atop the leafy anteater's head, watching the warriors fade into the forest. They all held their breath until the entire terrified horde had vanished. Then the queen approached. "I don't think we'll ever be seeing them again, thanks to you and your enormous sculpture, Crickwing," she said. "Or shall we call you Straightwing now? We need someone to help us keep this anteater in order, so I hope you will decide to join our colony. And I hear that you're an incredible chef." "Oh, I just love to play with my food," Crickwing replied. "And please call me Crickwing, Your Highness. I would very much like to stay. The first thing I want to do is prepare a great celebration feast for everyone." "Three cheers for Crickwing!" shouted Eartha. All the ants joined the cheer, then rushed into the forest. They gathered the brightest flower petals they could find and cut them into sparkling bits. All night at the banquet, everyone threw flower confetti, danced the six-step, and sang until sunlight came creeping through the trees. The queen peeked at the dawn and blinked drowsily. "I declare today a holiday," she yawned. "Hear, hear," said Crickwing. And for the first time in colony history, "You're welcome, Ms. M," the leaf cutters took a day off. And that is Crickwing. So probably don't have time to start the other book, so I probably going to end it here. And next week we have a special theme. Next Tuesday, we are going to be hearing about CH cats. And the theme is going to be CH, even though I think we're going to have a couple other books too. One of the books we're going to read next week is Betty Tales, the true story of a brave bobblehead cat. So, oh, you're welcome, Michelle. Maple Shade, New Jersey. I remember Maple Shade, right down Route 73. Same to you, Tina. All right, so hopefully everybody has a nice Thanksgiving. I am going to get out of here because I got to get up a little early so that I can pack, scoop, and get out and start driving to my brother's house. 9.5 hours drive. Though it's going to probably take me 11 hours. Oh, I'm glad to be here, Sue P. So, alrighty. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. I spilled a little water here, so I put a towel down.
From Emma's thing.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm a klutz when it
Oh,
comes to.
please, if you knew how many times I bumped it.
Hi, can I have my jacket back?